Welcome back, besties. It's another episode of Dare to Overshare, where we spill the tea, we overshare, because you know what? Oversharing is a love language, and sometimes we just want to get some things off our chest. I'm Jackie Hollywood, and I have a guest here with me today. We have Ashlee Belzo. She is CEO of Puff DAO and Girls, Gays, and Theys, and a whole bunch of other stuff, a community organizer. She gets people together, okay? And now I got her here. So, hello. Thank you.
Hi, how are you?
I'm so good.
I'm doing great. I love this space. It's so cute.
Thank you. You like all the pink?
I was like, you did this yourself, didn't you?
I did. I painted this with the help of a few
I
friends.
see the brush strokes. I'm like,
Hey, I'm not an artist.
no, it looks great.
So before we get into it, just a quick backstory on how we met. I like to go to social events, communities, gatherings, and there's this really fun event in the cannabis space that I found out about a few years ago called Puff DAO. Started going, found out that you were behind the whole thing, and I just never stopped going. I just was always there. And
I'm happy to hear that.
yeah, it's been a really, really great time. So thank you for bringing people together.
Of course, I love doing it.
So let's get into a vibe check. Tell me how you're feeling today. I know you had somewhat of a little frazzled, so I'm checking in.
Yeah, no, we're feeling good. It's going to be a beach day. Going to head as soon as I remembered that we were doing this, I was like, oh, perfect. We're going to go to Marina and we're going to stop in Laguna Beach. And yeah, the morning was a little crazy. My girlfriend and I were running around, but we're here now and excited to hang out. I'm excited to spill the beans, I guess. And, but yeah, I'm feeling good.
All right, cool. So let's get into the first overshare that you shared with me. You said that you started taking antidepressants because of anxiety after you got in a car accident. So take me through, not to give you PTSD about it, because that sounds terrible, but take me through that time.
Yeah, and I was like talking to my doctors and they're like going through like what my triggers are. Not talking about it isn't really my triggers. I think it's more of like when I'm watching a Netflix show now and I love like car chases and like, you know, anything with action. And when I like see something now, I freak out. But basically I was heading to LAX to pick up my mom from the airport. And we were just sitting at a stoplight waiting for the light to turn green. It's like one of those crazy four-way intersections, and next thing I knew, I was like being crushed inside my car. So we got T-boned and basically like a commercial truck ran a red light. And I mean, yeah, T-boned me in the driver's side. And it was one of those things where like there is no reaction time, and it is scary because like you always watch car accidents. You're like, okay, well, what if I could have done this really quick? When it's like, before I was even realizing it was over, and I like looked down and there's like glass all in my arm and blood. And, my ex at the time, we were all freaking out and I like couldn't get out of the car and I was like, get out. I was like, get out of your seat, because I was like crushed in and I was freaking out. But yeah, long story short, I'd never been in a car accident. I've never been in a car accident really. I may have been in like a bumper situation before, but it was really scary. And yeah, I can't speak much about it because we're still going through the case, but it was really traumatizing to me. And I ended up going through like a lot of tests. I mean, obviously, when you go through a car accident like that, I had MRIs and scans, and they said that I have a TBI, which is like a small traumatic brain injury. So I just think for me, I don't know how intense it has affected me. I mean, it's definitely like made me slower. I mean, when you're throwing events, you're all over the place. I mean, you've seen me. I'm like running around with like chicken with my head cut off.
Superwoman.
But yeah, definitely just, kind of affected my relationships, definitely made me more anxious. And when I started going to see a psychiatrist and a handful of doctors, he's like, I mean, you definitely have intense anxiety. And my best friend, Steph, was like, I mean, you're on edge more than I've ever seen you on edge before. And with like, basically from March to end of June, it's like pre 420, where I'm like working with brands all the way to pre-Pride to Pride. So like for 3 or 4 months, I felt like I was like a walking zombie, and anxiety was really bad. So luckily I've been taking Lexapro and that's been helping. But yeah, I mean, have you ever taken anxiety meds or antidepressants?
I haven't, but I definitely have struggled with anxiety before. I have learned now in my older age to self-regulate, but that wasn't always the case. So I can completely understand. And I've never been in an accident myself, so hearing it gives me anxiety because the thing is is it one of those things where you always think, oh, well, that's not going to happen?
That's not going to happen to me. Yeah.
But anything can happen to anyone. At any time.
It doesn't have to be you because, I mean, he was the one that ran a red light. He must have been trying to make the light. And as soon as ours turned green, I start inching out. And I mean, he smacked me. So it's like, I couldn't have done anything, you know, like he was going so fast that like I was just rolling from the red light.
Yeah.
Or sorry, I was rolling from the green light that was just red. So it's scary.
So you feel like before this accident, do you feel like you didn't really have a lot of anxiety and it just kind of ramped up, or it just got worse?
Yeah, I feel like I had maybe a little anxiety, but not to this point. And it kind of just started stacking on each other. And, you know, because of the accident, it like, you know, my car was totaled, you know, and then that just affected a lot of things in my life. So I just think it compacted on top of itself. And whenever I heard about like anxiety or like antidepressants, I think for me, I was like, oh, you have to be depressed to take that.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't educated enough to realize that like there's so many reasons why people take antidepressant, anti-anxiety. And when I had started taking it a month in, I was like, oh shit. You know, I was like, just like we're small moments where I think for me, it's really hard for me to tell when things are changing like within myself or my body, unless it's like really dramatic. You know, I'm not very like detail oriented. I'm kind of aloof. And when I started like feeling my anxiety kind of like slipping away, or I would be in a situation where I know that I would usually react and I didn't react and I like took a pause, I was like, maybe this is working.
Yeah.
So,
I'm glad that's working for you. Do you feel like the accident itself was some sort of wake-up call or sign from something that you needed to shift in your life, or do you look at it like that? Because I'm always trying to find the spiritual meaning behind everything.
Yeah, I know.
Why
totally.
did it happen to me? That kind of thing. So do you feel like you figured?
I feel like if anything, I mean, it maybe pushed me to slow down a little bit. You know, pushed me to like go to the doctor. And I mean, I go to the doctor, but like, I mean, there were so many tests that I'd done that I wouldn't have ever done probably in a long time. So just small things like that is kind of the way I thought about it.
Yeah. So just kind of like slow down and take care of yourself.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Well, lucky you're alive. And you have all your limbs. And
thank you. Yeah.
You know, it's you said thank you and look down to make sure you have them.
I was like, shit, I'm still here.
Well, I'm glad you're okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's get into the next overshare, which is you said being in a toxic relationship. So this is a common theme amongst my guests. And when I say amongst my guests, I'm included in that. Okay, I think it's pretty common in general. But so many of my guests here have talked about their past relationships that weren't so great.
Yeah.
And it's sad, but it's also great that we can discuss them, learn from them, talk about them. So obviously, I'm sure you could, spend 3 hours telling me about a toxic relationship, but let's get into the core of what exactly was that toxicity and how did you realize that it was time to break out of it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit and pinpoint like one specific relationship because I feel like there's been toxic traits in a lot of my past relationships, but like the past maybe 2 specifically, it's just like, dating someone who like kind of likes playing games and, you're like the whole like waiting for them to text back. It's like, it's totally fine if you're like not a texter, but like, first of all, if like I'm going to date you, like you have to at least like text me like throughout the day. And I know your texting patterns through your friends. So like, it's not how you are. So just kind of things like that where it's just like toxic patterns of like the cat and mouse. And I think for me is like, we all love a little toxicity. We all love a little chase. And the older I've gotten, the more I've realized that like just because they're hot and exciting and, can be fun at the party doesn't mean like this cat and mouse way that they're kind of making you feel is okay. And I think the only reason why I was going back was because of like that feeling and just like the anxiety of like, what are they doing? But it's like, you wouldn't have had to feel that way if your relationship was actually healthy and like you didn't feel this type of insecurity through it. And because I wasn't secure in the relationship, I didn't feel respected. That was just like a toxic part. And just a lot of gaslighting, you know, and me questioning myself. And I think a lot of people have different love languages. What's your love language?
I love them all, but I think at the very top would be physical touch.
Physical touch.
Yeah, I love being hugged. Like when I'm hugged, I feel the most loved out of anything. Like you can do things for me, you can tell me, you know, I love words of affirmation and things like that, but there's nothing like a nice
like
solid,
a nice hug.
like a long hug.
You feel and you're like your head's next to that.
I need 5 full minutes.
Okay. I would say so mine's like active service. Physical touch, yeah, but I think words of affirmation too. And it just gets to the point, I think, you know, lesbians, we're stereotypically known for jumping into relationships. I'm a Libra. I, you know, get close with people really fast, especially if like it's like we're really understanding each other. I'm not just talking like we had a good hookup. I'm talking about like we're constantly texting, we're connecting. But I think, sorry, I fucking lost my train of thought.
No, that's okay. I have a follow-up question unless you figure out what your train of thought.
No, sorry, go your follow-up question.
You saying that, lesbians, we normally get into relationships really fast. What's the fastest that you've gotten into an actual relationship?
I mean, I would say in like under a month, but like I haven't moved. Like I would say, I feel like we should gauge this based off of how fast you've moved in with someone. And for me, it's been like 9 months, 10 months.
I beat you.
Fastest.
And I'm straight.
Yeah. So how long?
Currently 6 months, and
wow.
we are living together, and we are going to get married.
Hashtag not fine.
I know. It's
actually
there's no rule for this. You know what I mean?
So listen, if it feels right, do it. And that's what I am currently dealing with. But I think what I was getting at was, I think it takes a minute unless you really dig deep in there of like what your love languages are. And for me, it's like when we're fighting or we're going through something and like I don't know exactly what to say in that moment, or like I'm not really like dramatic and overly emotional. There's only some times where I am. So like when I have a partner who is overly emotional and they're like, how can you sit there and not respond? And I'm like, first of all, like I need to process this, you know? And I'm a person, maybe I talk a lot, but like I'm not quick with words because I don't want to say the wrong thing. So I think love languages are so important because it's like if you're a person who like needs to talk about it this second and like you can't let your partner take a walk, and when I go take a walk, you're literally running after me crying. It's like, well, I can't sit here while I'm upset. It's like, well, I need to take a fucking walk to like sit down, and no offense, like I know you're upset and I'm trying to be empathetic, but like you crying this dramatically over something that I'm trying to even understand or feel like is an okay thing for us to be fighting about is like turning me off. So like just small things like that. I feel like I get gaslit a lot because it takes me time to like, digest things. And I may not notice in that moment I'm being gaslit. And then I'm like going over it in my head. I'm going on a walk. I'm one of those people that does confide in my best friend a lot because it takes me a minute to like recognize things. And I just think that there's been a lot of manipulation in my past relationships. And because I do have a lot going on and my brain may be here in one moment and I'm trying to digest this and think of this and think about what you said, like, I'm just kind of getting hit and taking it. And it takes me a moment to like realize like, it may not really be me. Like we may just, have different love languages. And if you can't handle the way I process things and we're clearly talking in different languages, it's just not going to work.
Yeah, it kind of does feel like an actual different language. And
it's like, well, you're like you have no empathy, and it's like, talk to like, I mean, maybe there's times where it's felt like I've had no empathy to you, but like if you talk to 90% of my friends, most of my friends would never say that. They feel like I have so much empathy. I take care of people more than I take care of myself, et cetera, et cetera.
Relationships will bring out all of your shadows that you never knew you had, and it's scary and beautiful at the same time, because then when it's the wrong relationship, well, cool, now you can work on yourself, figure out why you're attracting these people and all that. And one thing I learned too, whenever there's some sort of disagreement or something like that, and you need to maybe take a second, is to just reassure your partner, hey, I love you. Well, for me, it's I need a hug. I'm like, I love you, give the person a hug. I love you. I'm not mad at you. I need time. I need some time. But then it's like you almost give them that reassurance that they're loved.
Right.
And then maybe that will like calm them down. But some people just, they're not ready to take that space. They want answers now. I used to be I need answers now. Yeah. I don't want to take a second. I don't need to take a second kind of person. But now I've matured and I'm like, everybody might need a second.
Well, that pushes me away. And that's when I start looking empathetic because I'm just like, oh my God, please just like give me a second.
Yeah. Well, it becomes a little overstimulating, overwhelming, right? Oh, yeah. And I think that's also
and then I shut down, and then that's when the unempathetic side.
Yeah. How can you have empathy when you're so overstimulated by emotions and words and things like that your brain is
still trying to process? Thank you.
Yeah, 100%. And I understand that side, and then I can also understand the person is so anxious about the argument that they just want to resolve it now because waiting feels like torture to that person. Yeah. It feels like they're being waterboarded, you know? So like I can understand both sides, and that's why communication is
love languages are so important.
And it sounds so cliche to say, oh, communication is key, but it's like, no, if you really both have that, you can figure it out. Even you can figure out your love languages through communication, so
yeah, totally.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to your third overshare, coming out. So it's been already said, Ashlee is a lesbian.
Gay.
So she's gay. Which actually the whole girls, gays, and theys. I was like, let me say it. Girls, gays, and theys is an event that is thrown, and it's just such a cool title. First of all, love that. Girls, gays, and theys. So let's talk about coming out.
Yeah. So I talked to my mom this morning. I was like, because I feel like, I've had coming out stories, like the It Gets Better project that was like a big thing 15, 20 years ago. It's still a big thing, but you talk about your coming out story, and I did that on YouTube a long time ago. But I feel like now that I'm older and I do so much queer stuff, it's like, how is there not video and like funny clips of how I came out? And it's because my mom doesn't want me to share certain parts. But basically, I didn't technically come out. I was forced out because, you remember AIM?
Yeah. Oh, AIM? Yeah. Well, I call it AIM, but
AIM, sorry, AIM.
Oh my God. Wait, before you go on, sorry, give me your first username on AIM.
It was Ashnick94 because my middle name's Nicole.
I was Nelly Haters Suck.
Nelly Haters Suck?
Yes.
Oh my fucking, he just performed like locally, I think.
Oh my God, I love that man. Anyways, my boyfriend too, but I love Nelly.
So I guess I was like talking, I didn't know at this point when you're like, you're young, and I was like probably 13, and you're like, don't know if you like girls or not. You don't even know what you are, So I was like flirting with this girl. She was like my little girlfriend at the time. I didn't even know like if I was fully gay or what, but like I knew I liked girls. And my brother had stayed home from school because he was sick, and he's 2 years younger than me. So maybe I was like in 8th grade and he was in 6th grade or something. And he used my laptop because he was sick and he wanted to, play on it or whatever the case was. And he opened up my messages. I must have been saying something naughty to this girl. And he freaked out. He didn't know what they are. And he started reading them. And I guess he gave my mom my computer and showed them.
Oh, no.
And my mom picked me up and she's like, Ashlee, are you a lesbian? She's like, pick me up in the parking lot. That's the first thing she says to me. It's like 3 p.m. on Tuesday.
You were not expecting that.
Yeah. And I'm like, what? And she's like, give me your phone. To, her benefit, or not the benefit.
Defense.
To her defense. Parents just don't know what's going on. And I think she just was freaking out. But long story short, like I didn't come out. I was technically outed because my little brother read dirty messages on AIM from me and my little girlfriend.
Crazy. So
sorry, Chase, but
so when your mom asked you, what did you say?
I started crying and I said, what do you talk? Well, first of all, I was like, what are you talking about? What are you asking? She's like, your brother saw your messages. And then she called my dad and they talked about it. And then my dad came down and brought me to Outback. I guess he brought me and my brother to Outback, I think. And we talked about it. And I guess the Outback server overheard what we were saying. And my dad was kind of pounding on me. He was like, it's a phase. And me and my dad, my mom, my parents are so supportive now. So I don't want them to be watching this and being like, nah. But like, yes, in that moment, my parents, didn't know how to react. They just wanted to talk to me. And I guess the server was either queer or just a big ally and didn't like how the conversation was going with my dad. So they came back over and then she was like, I'm not sure what's going on and it's not my business, but like if your daughter says it's not a phase, then you need to listen to her and hear her. And like then she like put her hand on me and she's like, I just want you to know that I support you. And that was really like big for me because I didn't know what to do. You know, I didn't get to like come out or do the things that half of the kids now, millennials do now, where they're recording themselves coming out to their parent. And not that I need any of that, but like I didn't technically get to come out on my own terms. And then started getting bullied in high school because like my other brother, but that was my stepbrother, I called him gay and then he called me a lesbian. But because everyone loved him and like he wasn't the new kid in school, they like took his shit for facts. So people would like write Belzo the lesbo like literally on my desk and shit. And it was just so,
As a kid, that's so
it was so terrible.
traumatic because now you're like, you're going to write that yourself. You know what I mean? Because
and now I started Lesbos by Belzo. So it's fine.
You own it now because once you get that self-confidence and you're an adult, you're like, this is
I was like, I'm taking this back, you know? So now obviously it's the same old story. The cool kids in high school that bullied me are fat and live at home and have, you know, a husband and husband, wife and kids, which is fine. But like I came out here, I owned who I am. I am unapologetically myself. And like, I've never felt more me in my life. So like, yeah, it sucked. And like, I got bullied and, you know, I went through all of the things, but I think I'm just thankful that I came out in a day and age where like, it wasn't 20 years ago, because imagine me being gay 20 years ago. I mean, girls, gays, and theys wouldn't be able to happen the way it is. I mean, I would probably like be ostracized in many ways. So yeah, I mean, I'm thankful more than anything that like my family is so supportive and time is changing.
Or did you grow up here or somewhere else?
I grew up in Florida.
Okay, I was wondering if you were like small town vibes or...
Yeah. Technically Connecticut. I was born in Florida and then I moved to Connecticut when I was like 2 because that's where my mom is from and she just needed help, you know, with her parents. And I stayed there for 10 years and then I moved back to Florida where my dad lives. So I'm like a Florida girl, but like my growing up years is like small town Connecticut.
Okay, well, LA is the perfect place to be girls, gays, and theys.
Yeah.
To be whatever you want to be, right? Yeah. Whatever you want to be. So we're glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Before we move on to hot takes, which I'm very excited about, a little shout out to Vibes here. This is a mind and body mood drink with magnesium. Magnesium is so important to help you rest, relax, recalibrate. And I have 10% off with code Jackie Hollywood at idrinkvibes.com. That's Vibes, VYBES. And I always take a sip during this segment because they're delicious, right? It's so good.
God, blueberry mint is just such a vibe.
Blueberry mint, and I have my peach ginger.
They used to be hemp. Didn't they?
Oh, maybe, I don't know. Maybe they changed their formula.
They did.
But now it's magnesium because, you know.
We need it.
I know. So good. All right. So hot take. So this is something that you feel pretty strongly about that maybe other people will or won't agree with, which is the fun part of the show. Number 1, you say redheads are elite.
They are.
So tell me why.
I mean, I don't know. I just feel like I love redheads. I feel like, you know, like a Jessica Chastain. So, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Just so naturally beautiful. And I feel like growing up, I was just always into like the Emma Stone looking like actresses. And I feel like all of my girlfriends like know this about me, know I love redheads. So I've dated 2 redheads and I'm dating and hopefully my last redhead right now. But like my other partners, like every time they saw one, they were just like this, you know. So
they were afraid.
Yeah, they were afraid. So babe, I hope you're happy.
So, okay. So you said you've dated non-redheads too. Do you feel like when you were with those partners, whenever there was like a hot redhead that would walk by, would you do one of those like 180, your head turn type of thing?
No, but like it was like they'd be walking towards me and then my partner would like clock it and then they would look at me and I'd be like,
Actually,
I'm not that disrespectful. And also usually my partners are normal and they'd be like, oh yeah, like we're talking about an actress, this or that. But like they know.
Do you feel like it's normal in a relationship to maybe you and your girl are watching a movie or something, like you said, and Emma Stone or whoever's on the screen, for you to just be like, wow, she's beautiful. Like, that's not going to bother your partner, right?
No, I mean, last night we were watching someone and we realized that it was like a friend of mine, and she was like, oh, like I've seen her, like she said she's a fox. And I'm like, she is.
Yeah, because I always wonder, because in straight relationships, a lot of the times that's so taboo.
Yeah.
In my relationship, it's fine.
Good, I love that.
We'll be watching.
No insecurity.
We'll be watching Love Island and I'll be like, oh, attractive, not attractive, whatever.
Yeah.
All opinions, right?
Yeah.
But it's so common that when you're in a relationship that one or both people are like, if you say that, that's so wrong.
You're in the wrong relationship. And I think, I mean, unless you feel that type of way and you're the type of person that's like, you can't say that. But in my mind, it's like, we're adults here. We're not in high school. So like, if you can't just agree over someone's beauty, then I think that's a little weird. If you're like googly eye overing them and being disrespectful, that's one thing. But like, that's for you and your partner to decide, you know?
Yeah, it's like what I always say is we're humans and we have eyeballs. So naturally, our eyeballs look at things that we find shiny and pretty and whatever. And that's just human nature.
Absolutely.
And that doesn't mean that you don't love the person you're with, but you might just be like, it's like attractive human, and then you move on with your day. So if you're in a relationship where that's really, really, really taboo and not allowed, you might want to work on that. But I'm no therapist, so don't listen to me. I always give advice, and then I'm like, these people don't want my advice.
I mean, shit, you may get a really good quote and it gets shared.
Well, there's always good quotes from all these podcasts that become the clickbait of my YouTube.
I know.
So we're already brewing on which one it's going to be for you.
Yours is going to be redheads or elite.
All right. The second hot take you have is, if you don't RSVP and you show up anyway, you're not mysterious. You're just disrespectful.
Yeah. I mean, I think this could be taken, like, I think there's a couple instances where like it's fine if you don't RSVP. If it's a free event, you know that you truly forgot to RSVP and you want to go, it's fine. But I think like LA culture specifically, and I'm sorry, I'll call out some of my friends, you know who you are watching this right now, but like, you know, I'm so busy before the Puffed Out event or the Girls Gaze Days event. And most of these people, like, I'll either send them a message unknowingly through Instagram that's like a promotional message, which all my friends get, or they'll get like an actual text from me. And it's like the day before, and I'm like, hey, if you want to come, let me know. Either I'll put you on the list or I'll like send them the link because I like want the support. Then they'll message me like an hour before and be like, hey, can you put me on the list? Or like, hey, I didn't get a ticket. And it's like, can you please, if I wasn't the owner of the company and you were texting like the promoter or whatever, I don't care. But to be like texting me an hour before my event when I like had already invited you, or like you don't want to RSVP or buy a ticket because like you're too cool. And this is the thing, it's more about buyer behavior. And because I'm into marketing and I'm like obsessed with kind of that side of things, it's like, especially in LA, like people are always looking for the next best thing, you know, or like what's free, or is there an influencer event, or like whatever the case is. So people aren't buying tickets till like 24 to 48 hours before the event. And I would say more than half of the people. So it's also really stressful for event producers like me who are like working their ass off for weeks, maybe months before. And we don't even know if we can pay for the event 2 days before the event. So to get those texts of people who like just didn't RSVP or get a ticket when like you knew about it, it's like, no, you're not mysterious. You're just a dick.
I think it's so important to talk about this because most people are not the event producers. Most people are the common people like me who go to the events. And so talking about this is so, so important. And I agree. I think it's super disrespectful because it's your time. Yeah. And you must be so busy the day, 24 to 48 hours before an event. I can't even imagine what goes on.
The pre-production.
I don't even want to know what goes on behind the scenes because that sounds like a lot. So I just feel
labor. And then just because I'm so exhausted or I'm dealing with the brands or the sponsors or there's always something that goes wrong. It's like, you know, that text to me, it's like, it's a $15 ticket.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I was just going to bring that up. I think, people don't not want to pay because they can't afford it. Like you said, it's usually quite affordable.
Yeah.
You know, it's less than a drink at a bar to get in. But you said something about, oh, people think they're too cool to pay. So let's talk about that. Like, what do you think is the mindset behind these people that they can't spend money to support their quote unquote friend, right? This is supposed to be someone that they want to.
I mean, I think it's a little bit of like, oh, you're my friend. Why can't you give me this? Or like, oh, like some people will text me like, I just don't have money. And I'd be like, fine, like I'll throw you on the list. I'd rather you come and buy a drink, which again goes towards helping me, right? But I think, yeah, it is like a little too cool for school. And that's what bothers me. It's like, you're too cool to spend $15 to support me because you want to be on the list. But like you're spending like $100 here, $100 there. And it's like, sometimes like, I mean, this doesn't happen a lot, but sometimes I'll throw an event and like, I'm hardly making money. So like you're complaining about this, but I've spent like 100 hours across a month producing an event. And like, obviously, you know, not making money doesn't happen a lot. But like when I haven't made a lot and I get texts like that, I'm like, holy shit. Like I just, yeah.
Take me through a 24 to 48 hour before an event. Like what are all the things that you're doing so that people understand how hard it is to actually.
I mean, for like, you know, Puffed Out Girls and Gays is different. Puffed Out obviously is so big, but I mean, you know, 48 hours before the event, like I'm putting together the run of show, the map, I'm sending, you know, pre-event emails to all the brands. I'm figuring out where all the brands are going to be. I'm working with my interior designer on production. I'm like picking up things from Amazon. I'm driving an hour south to go pick up a couch or the Waterloo coolers and like 1,000 cans from Waterloo. Then I'm going back to the venue on, you know, the day before, doing pre-production for 12 hours, sound check, running around, going to get posters printed, things printed out, physically moving things up and down stairs. And then the day before the event, working with the volunteers, setting things up, making sure all of the brands are there on time. I mean, you name it. So when I have 30 to 40 texts between sponsors and brands and people who paid me $3,000 to be there, and you're asking if you can get in for free or like unit RSVP, when I can actually go through MailChimp and see that you opened up the email, get the fuck out of here.
So what actually keeps you wanting to do this? Like what is
just my passion and like the, you know, the knowing that like I want to change the way people view cannabis, and that, you know, we're still like the industry is still so new. I mean, we only have half or a third of the states where there's medical or recreational cannabis. Don't quote me on that, but you know, walking into Times Square this past week, because I had like a billboard campaign with AT&T, so it was really cool to see me like there. And I was in Times Square and I saw that massive, you know, it said like New York City cannabis, and I was just like, we are in it, you know, like 5 years ago, 6, 7 years ago, when I got my first ever cannabis job and I was working at the Higher Path, it was still medical. Like I remember being in the store when 420 hit and like it was wrecked and we threw joints in the air. Like, you know, so to see like how far it's come and to know that like I'm a part of like changing the way mainstream people are viewing it, I want to keep doing it. I just need to continue evolving what that is. So, you know, Puffed Out is a community, an event production company. But, you know, I think a lot this year is I'm going to focus on less like doing these blowout events in LA and like, you know, finding other cities like New York City, Miami, who would really benefit from this forbidden farmers market kind of thing where it's like high end, there's cannabis, there's food, there's local small business vendors that you can support. So yeah, I mean, the money is not keeping me coming back. It's the passion for sure.
I love that. I mean, I always have so much fun at Puffed Out. I'm there every time that I can be. My favorite was probably 2 years ago, Halloween, when I came as Captain Underpants.
Oh my God.
And terrorized the whole place.
Yeah, dude, that was such a good party.
But it's fun. It's fun. And the community's great. The people are always just like A1. Yeah. Like the people just make the event because there's never really bad vibes. I'm never there like, oh, who's this person? It's just always such good.
Yeah. Energy. I mean, you sit at the rolling table. There's like 4 other people you don't know rolling their own joints, and you can like connect and talk with them. And, you know, it's kind of like a singles table at like a party, you know, where it's like everyone's just good vibes and it's a melting pot group of people. And like, that's what I'll say too, is that like that event, there is every different person, age range. I mean, there's like usually like, there's been like 50-year-old grandpas and grandmas, you know, at the party. So
for the record, Ashlee, I RSVP the second I see the email. And you can quote me on that. You can look up. You can open your chin.
I can be like, how many opens? No, I appreciate that.
Well, I'm also the kind of person that shows up way too early to things and RSVPs way too much in advance, because I'm the opposite, where I'll have anxiety if I don't do it close because I don't want to bother anybody. So I'm very much like, let me make sure.
No, I love it. Be prepared.
Be prepared. Be prepared.
Be prepared.
Okay. Last hot take.
Oh,
if you're not an event producer or curating an event with a true goal in mind, stop throwing events with all your friends to feed your ego. This ties in with...
I was like, do I have to say more?
Yeah, well, explain what you mean by if you don't have a goal in mind, stop throwing events. Like, what do you mean by that?
I think just for me, I mean, you know, LA is actually notoriously known for not having good nightlife. And, you know, getting into events has been a journey for me. I didn't just like start throwing events. It was like, I've done marketing, I've done brand ambassador work, I've done events. I started, you know, working for people in events, and then I started throwing my own. And I think just after being in this space for so long and then starting Girls, Gays, and Theys, I feel like, you know, there's a bubble, right? There's so many events. And when you get to the point where there's so many and there's like 10 events going on a Thursday, the bubble pops because there's too many things going on. And I started just seeing, I think, a lot of people who like maybe are just like artists, you know, like I'm an actual singer and I'm like, but I like going out and I have a lot of influencer friends. So like I'm starting to throw events on a Thursday at like the local club where like all my friends, I'm not paying them, you know, even though like some of those people like that I'm also friends with, if I'd asked them to host, I would never not pay them, you know, but it's then there's like a bunch of them all getting together to like get drunk and like play their new music. And like, that's fine. But it's like, what about me who wants to like actually hire the artist to like perform in front of the community who like, I'm not going to not pay, you know? So it kind of just takes away from the people who are like actually putting the time, the money, the energy into like curating and producing like these actual events. And like, there's different kinds of events and places for everything. But when all of those are happening and they're happening on the same days as of your events, it starts getting a little wish-washy. So I just think for me, I just want there to be less events and like more of like a goal, or like, if you don't like doing events and you're just a DJ, stop just producing events for shits and giggles. You know, like that's have someone hire you to DJ at their events.
Yeah. Like you said, I mean, everybody has their thing, their ego. They want to be, I mean, we're in LA. So first of all, there's a lot of that. Yeah. And it makes sense that you want to expand into other cities as well, because there's just probably less things going on.
There is.
Well, New York and Miami are also big.
No, but I mean, even going to Austin, I mean, when I started throwing Girls, Gays, and Theys Austin, we did 2 South by Southwest. We did 2 South by Southwest events and then 1 Austin Pride. And they loved it. I mean, it was amazing. I made double the money I'd ever made at a Girls, Gays, and Theys LA at my first event in Austin. And it was because like they don't have so many of them, you know? And I just think there's too many queer events is what I'm getting at. And I just want people to have genuine intentions.
Well, it's nice to go to these other places and do that too, because they don't have as many, they don't have the communities that we have in LA.
We're so lucky.
It's so easy to go find your tribe here, whether that's cannabis, whether that's queer events, whether that's just girls only or whatever it is. There's literally something for everyone here. So it is nice to branch out into places that have a lot less of that. And it's almost then maybe you just feel even more appreciated now because of that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So next up, I'm going to try to hit San Diego and Portland. So we'll see how it goes.
Cool. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Imagine that young little Ashlee is in the room with us. Okay. How old do you picture her if you just picture yourself as a kid?
Maybe like 5.
Okay. What would you tell her right now if you could talk to her?
I would say it gets better, and everything you dreamed that you wanted to do is right at your fingertips.
That's beautiful. I love that. Okay, now let everyone know what you're working on so that if they want to follow you, they know what's up. I mean, we kind of touched on your events, but anything you want to promote?
You can follow PuffDAO at PUFFDAO and Girls, Gays, and Nays at Girls, GIRLS, Gays. No, it's Girls, Gays, Theys, LA. We throw local events in Los Angeles. We're going to start throwing events in San Diego, like I just said, starting in September. And our next event is going to be September 20th at the Virgil.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing and bearing it all. We've touched on a lot of things, and I'm super excited to go to whichever next event happens around these streets.
Girls, Gays, and Nays. I'll see you in September.
All right. See you next time, everybody.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, on the next episode of Dare to Overshare. We'll catch you next time. Bye.